Hello, my name is Daniel. Today I want to tell you my story about my first English sentence. This moment changed my life. I live in a small, quiet town in Mexico. The streets are clean and many people know each other. Every morning I walk to school with my sister. We see the same people every day. The old man with his dog, the lady who sells flowers, and the children playing with a ball. In school, we have English classes. We learn many words. We write sentences in our books. We read short texts. But we do not speak much English in class. I always think I know some words, but can I really speak? Speaking feels scary. I don't want to make mistakes. I feel shy. At home, I watch cartoons in English. I listen to the songs. I write new words in my notebook. But I never speak them out loud. I only say them quietly in my mind. I wish I could speak like the people in the videos. One warm Saturday morning, my mother says, "Let's go to the park." I say, "Yes, let's go." The sun shines brightly. Birds sing in the trees. Families walk together. Children laugh and run around. We sit on a bench and eat ice cream. Suddenly, I see a man standing near a big map in the middle of the park. He looks confused. He turns his phone around and checks his map again. He scratches his head. He looks around but does not move. My mother notices him too. She says softly, maybe he needs help. The man walks towards us. He smiles politely and says, "Hello, excuse me, do you speak English?" I feel my heart beat very fast. My hands start to sweat. My stomach feels strange. This is the moment I was always scared of. Should I answer? What if I say something wrong? I remember my English teacher's words, "Don't be afraid, just try." I take a deep breath. I smile back and say, "Yes, a little." The man looks very happy. He says, "Can you help me? Where is the museum?" For a second, my mind goes blank. Then I remember, I have been to the museum before. I close my eyes for a moment and think about how to say it. "Go straight," I say slowly, then turn right. The museum is next to the big tree. The man claps his hands softly and says, "Thank you very much." I feel my face get warm, but I smile and say, "You are welcome." The man walks away looking happy. My mother touches my shoulder and says, "I am proud of you." I sit quietly for a moment. My heart still beats fast, but I feel something new. I feel proud. I spoke English. I helped someone. It was only a few words, but they were real. I really spoke English. That small moment opened a big door in my mind. I think if I can say one sentence, maybe I can say more. Maybe I can learn to speak English well. I look at my mother and say, "I want to practice more. I want to speak better." She smiles and says, "Of course, you can do it." That simple moment at the park changed everything for me. After that day, I felt very excited to learn more English. I wanted to speak better, so I made a plan. Every morning after breakfast, I listened to one English song. I didn't understand all the words, but I liked the music. I wrote the words I heard in my notebook. Sometimes I asked my sister, "What does this word mean?" She helped me. In the afternoon, I read short English stories on my phone. I liked stories about animals and children. The stories were easy and I understood many words. I read them aloud slowly. I tried to say each word clearly. Every evening, my sister and I made it fun. We played a simple game. We took turns asking questions. She asked, "What is your favorite color?" I said, "I like blue." Then I asked, "What do you eat for lunch?" She said, "I eat rice and chicken." We laughed and enjoyed speaking. Sometimes we made funny voices to make it more fun. We spoke like robots or like very slow people. We laughed a lot. This helped me feel less nervous about speaking. One weekend, my mother found a small English group in town. She said, "Daniel, maybe you can join this group. They speak English together." I felt a little scared, but I said, "Yes, I want to try." The next Monday, I went to the group for the first time. The teacher was a young man. He smiled and said, "Welcome. Don't worry about mistakes, just speak." There were 5 other students. Some spoke better than me, some were beginners like me. We played simple games in class. We learned how to greet people. We practiced sentences like, "My name is Daniel, I live in Mexico, and I like music." We took turns asking and answering questions. One day, the teacher brought small cards with questions. My card said, "What do you do every morning?" I answered, "I wake up. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast." The teacher smiled and said, "Good job." Every night before bed, I stood in front of my mirror. I looked at myself and talked about my day. Today I went to school. I studied math. I played football. I read an English story. Speaking to the mirror helped me feel more comfortable. Some days I recorded my voice with my phone. I listened to my own words. I heard my mistakes. Then I tried again. Little by little, I felt more confident. After 2 weeks, I started to speak a little more in class. When the teacher asked questions, I raised my hand. I was not so afraid anymore. I spoke slowly, but I spoke. The teacher often said, "You don't need to be perfect. Just speak. The more you speak, the better you become." One sunny morning, I decided to visit a coffee shop. I wanted to sit and read my English story while drinking a hot chocolate. The shop was small and cozy. People sat at tables, talking and smiling. Soft music played in the background. I found a seat near the window. I opened my book and started to read aloud quietly. After a few minutes, a woman walked in. She carried a big bag. She looked around and sat at the table next to me. When she tried to take out her laptop, her bag fell on the floor. I quickly stood up, picked up the bag, and gave it back to her. I smiled and said, "Here you are." She smiled back and said, "Thank you very much." "Are you from here?" I answered, "Yes, I live near this place." She said, "That's nice. Your English sounds good." I felt happy and replied, "Thank you. I am learning." She introduced herself. Her name was Sarah. She was from Canada and was visiting for work. We started to talk. She asked, "How long have you been learning English?" I said, "I started some months ago. I practice every day." We talked about many simple things. Food, the weather, and hobbies. I said I like to play football and watch movies. She said I like hiking and reading. Sarah was very kind. She spoke slowly and I could understand her. Sometimes I needed a moment to find the right word. But I did not feel afraid. She smiled and waited when I spoke. After 30 minutes, she said, "You are doing great. Keep practicing every day." I felt proud. I knew I still had a lot to learn, but I could talk to a native speaker. That was a big step for me. When I returned home, I told my mother and sister about the conversation. They clapped their hands and said, "We are so proud of you." From that day, I felt more confident. I spoke more in my English class. I asked my teacher more questions. I joined my friends to practice speaking. We played speaking games, sang songs, and told funny stories. At home, I continued my daily routine. I listened to English songs, watched simple videos, read short stories, and spoke to myself in front of the mirror. One evening, I recorded myself speaking about my day. I listened to the recording and smiled. My voice sounded clear and strong. Now I know that learning English is a journey. It is not always easy, but it is fun. If you want to speak English, do not wait. Start today, speak a little every day. You will get better and better. English is not just a subject. It is a way to meet new people, share your ideas, and open new doors. Your first sentence can change your life just like it changed mine.